bring everything but the hog. I think we eat nothing but grass, what you talking about? I'm about to jump into the whip and hit the Whole Foods early. Get everything to get that soul food working, like mac and cheese, the collard greens, the black eyed peas, and get a roast of that tofu turkey. Got cornbread, even got stuffing. Mashed potatoes so good, put your hand in it. String beans, and you know we got yams with it.
Hello everyone, thanks for joining us today for Tommy and Lee's Vegan News Desk, where we look to entertain and educate you on everything within the vegan movement. Vegan news updates, events, guests, and much, much more. Let's get rid of that because that's going crazy at the minute. Where we looked into, so we've got a lot planned for today. So there's so much has happened over the last 2 weeks. We've got so much news to share with you. The topic of today is ex-vegans, where we will discuss the reasons why they do this, the impact it has, and what we can do as vegans to stop and to counter this. Finally, we have a Q&A section when we want to interact with you. It's very important for me and Tommy to be able to create a community with you, answer any questions you have, and let you share information with us and others that is useful. We also want to thank everyone who tuned in last time. We're very happy and a little surprised by the amount of views that we had last time and the amount of people that invested time with us and the interactions. So we want to thank you for that and thank you for joining today. We will always look to improve and make valuable content for you. With that out of the way, let Tommy introduce himself. For any of you that don't know him, a link to his channel will be in the description below, so make sure you go and check it out. Make sure you subscribe. So Tommy, who are you and what is your channel about?
First off, nice to see everybody. I hope you all enjoy the content today. I'm actually Tofu Tommy is my YouTube channel. I've been vegan now for almost just over 3 years to be exact, on January 12, 2016. Basically what I do is I'm the organiser for the Save movement here in Ayrshire in Scotland. I'm also organiser with Anonymous for the Voiceless, the Climate Save, the Free Vegan Cookout and a lot of other groups. So basically what my channel is all about is about vegan activism, obviously, which first and foremost, obviously about the animals. I do a lot for mental health recovery as well. I'm also a qualified personal trainer, which I'm going to do a lot sharing on the channel, and I'm working on as well.
Hello everyone, thanks for joining us.
Some content that's really valuable to you, and we're always here to help each other, which is most important.
Great. Well, like I said, guys, his description, his link to his video is down below. Make sure you go and check it out. Make sure you subscribe to him. He's got so many amazing videos. Someone is bound to find something useful on there. So should we crack on with the news today, Tommy?
Yeah, absolutely. What first we're actually going to talk about is vegan gains. He's just, as you probably haven't known, or most of you probably have, but obviously a lot of you aren't on YouTube quite a lot. So vegan gains actually, his channel terminated, very, very recently. He just actually got it back, which is really, really good for the vegan community because he's a big, big presence on YouTube. There's been a lot of speculation as to why he got his channel deleted and who was actually behind it. He did delete an awful lot of videos and he tried to comply 100% with YouTube's term of service. So we're basically going to show you a bit about his channel as well and just actually what actually happened. So as you can see here, this is Vegan Gains channel. He's actually
first of all, I just want to establish.
This is obviously why Neil deGrasse Tyson needs to go. So if you can go, please support him. Like I say, that's what his video there is, saying I'm back, redemption gains. So great to see him back. They actually believe that Bat K was actually behind it. So we don't know a great deal about that, but it kind of looks like that was the reason why. Lee actually made a great video, obviously uploading his video actually talking about why he'd actually been terminated. So go and check that out, guys, as well. I'd thoroughly recommend it.
Yeah, because like you said, there's probably not everyone that goes on YouTube all the time. People probably weren't even aware that it was removed, and then there was a big thing on YouTube, people trying to get him to get his channel back. But yeah, there's a lot of speculation about why it happened. He did make a full-on in-depth video about why it happened or what he think had happened, but there was a lot of people within the vegan movement that wanted to get his channel back. There was actually quite a few people that weren't even vegan themselves that were kind of saying that it's censorship, and even if they weren't vegan, some of them were actually carnivore, like going against vegan gains. They were saying the way that YouTube did it was completely and utterly wrong. It shouldn't have happened. And there are other YouTubers out there, like people like Logan Paul, that have done much worse content that are still going today. So a lot of people were thinking maybe it's because he's vegan, whatever it is. But I made a video on it, and a lot of people were sad to see his channel go. A lot of people were quite happy to see his channel. Some people said that they were surprised that it didn't happen sooner. It's one of those ones where I think, like you said, it's a huge loss to the vegan movement if his channel didn't get reinstated, because he is a huge player within the vegan movement. He's got over 300,000 subscribers. I can say it, I'm sure many other people can, but part of the reason why I went vegan was watching some of his content, because he does have a big portion of his channel to do with fitness, so a lot of guys are drawn towards that. But if he goes into stuff saying the reason why you know, animal products are bad for your health, and he comes from the aspect of health and how it can affect you when it comes to the gym and training and everything like that, a lot of people are going to listen to that. And there are a lot of vegan channels out there where they are more about the ethics, and obviously veganism is, you know, it's an ethical stance, but a lot of people go it for health, and if they can, they would go vegan, but they're worried about their gym progress. But if you've got someone like him, who, let's be honest, he's a huge guy, he's like 6'3", his arms are massive. If someone can see him go vegan and he can back it up using all of his, like, the data and the science he uses to back up what he's saying, it's a very, very powerful motivator for a lot of people to make that change. And I think if he didn't get reinstated, it would be a huge loss. So I'm glad that he's got his channel back.
Absolutely, but I think obviously he had a lot of kind of videos that obviously did delete quite a lot. He actually said in his video on Jasmine's channel last week there that he'd obviously regretted quite a lot of the things he did. I think Abbas Lassil actually made a video pretty criticising his reasons behind it. Obviously the video that he made, obviously showing his weapons and things in his house and things, but he's been open and honest about his struggles with mental health and things like that. So I think he is trying to make a change for it. And like I say, he's a big presence on YouTube, and we've all got to support one another, because at the end of the day, that could be you, me, or anybody else that could lose their channel at the end of the day. And YouTube is trying to silence quite a lot of us, as we well know. Like I say, my channel has actually been, it's been flagged quite a lot. I've actually had my channel blacklisted. Most of my subscribers don't obviously get notifications for my videos as well. So we've got to look at that. Like I say, they're trying to stop the vegan message because they don't want the truth getting out, guys. So we've got to try and support each other and as much as we possibly can. Like I say, you don't need to agree with everything that everybody says, but at the end of the day, we're all here for the same reason, which is the animals, and that's most important.
Oh, yeah, I think that's the thing. It's a valid point you brought up there, is that anyone's channel can get targeted, anyone's channel could be removed. And for him, the biggest thing is YouTube is his income, that his whole life revolves around YouTube. If he lost that, I mean, he could be made homeless, whatever. It's a huge income that he would lose. But like you said, if you're being flagged, anyone could be flagged, anyone could lose their channel. I mean, I think you've got, what, nearly 500 videos?
I've got round about 800 and 30, 50 nearly.
That's what I mean. A huge amount of time, a huge amount of effort, and a huge amount of information that is going to be really, really useful to someone would all be removed in one fell swoop. So that it's a bad thing. And I've had a few channel comments on my channel where people are saying, you know, hashtag remove another carnivore's channel, because I think a lot of these other YouTube channels, they actually, whether they actually do it themselves by saying it or they start something in the comment section, there are people out there that are out to get other people's channels removed just because they have a different opinion. And that's the problem. I think Vegan Gains came up said there's something like there's bots or certain things, or if you get so many flags in a space of 3 months, you could get your channel removed just like that. So again, people could come out with a hate program and just get your channel removed just like that, just because, like you said, they're against your message that you have. It's something that I think YouTube need to work on, and I think it's good that you're getting a lot of other people even that aren't even vegan. I think Primal Edge Health, he made a video saying obviously he's dead against it. He's part of like the carnivore movement, and that's obviously and he even said that he's against it because it's that censorship and it shouldn't be happening. And I think it's good that so many people stepped up and uploaded his video, shared posts. Twitter was everywhere with it all. So
the thing that really gets me is when you think of it, there's that much sex and violence and things in YouTube. They're allowed, but when you actually put out a message telling the truth, obviously because a lot of these YouTube partnerships, they're all sponsored by a lot of things, that obviously the meat and dairy companies and quite a few others. So their real concern is that they're obviously losing money through their sponsorships and things. So that's why a lot of the ad revenue has been obviously cut quite a lot. Actually, as well, when you're saying that, every video I now upload, I've actually got to look at being obviously monetized and it takes around about 7 days for them actually to get back to me and say, look, that video is okay to be put on YouTube. So by the time I get all my views, I'm not making anything anyway, but that's not a concern because I'm not here for the money. That is absolutely not. I'm here for the animals, and the most important thing for me is people obviously seeing the message, and if I can't reach that message, well, that's when it makes it obviously difficult for us.
Yeah, I think the other thing as well, a lot of people have been talking about it, saying that YouTube is mainly promoting channels that are monetized. So sometimes if you, like for us, you know, a vegan channel, if you're trying to get your message out there, sometimes it can be hard for people to see it if you're not monetized, because obviously YouTube prioritizes monetized channels because, again, that's where they make their money. So sometimes if you have someone that gets certain videos, you know, you can't monetize them, that could affect the impact you could have, that could affect the reach that you have, which is an issue. But I think many of us know that YouTube isn't a perfect platform. It is a great platform for the fact that you can reach so many people, it's worldwide, and anyone can upload a video. But I think there are a lot of concerns. I think there's a lot of problems out there, and I think because anyone can just go in, like I said, like you said, yours has been flagged. I mean, anyone could just go up to a thing and start flagging videos, but for what purpose?
But what I think as well, I think sometimes, see, when you put vegan in the name, that's when you're likely to run into issues, because you want to try and be kind of multi-diversial in the content that you put out, like not being too focused on about the vegan message. Like if you're somebody that's into fitness, putting that on, because that inspires people to go vegan that way as well. Because let's be honest about it, as human beings, we're obviously very selfish and self-absorbed in what we can get out of veganism at the end of the day. So quite a lot of the times, and being 100% honest, a lot of people just don't care a shit about the animals, and sorry for using that word, but it's true.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they want to see what veganism obviously benefits them. And like I say, veganism is not a diet at the end of the day, but it's an extension and a benefit of being the moral, ethical reason. So you need to obviously show people, look, this is how you can go vegan. Veganism is very accessible. You've got options in every restaurant now, virtually. Every supermarket's got dedicated aisles for veganism. It's healthy for you. Obviously, 14 of the 15 biggest killers are attributed to animal products and animal consumption, and how obviously you can be fit and healthy and not just survive, but obviously thrive on a vegan diet.
Yeah, I think that's a concern, obviously, because it is such a big trend at the minute. You're going to get some people that are just going to be jumping on it for the sake of jumping on it, and again, they don't care about the animals or anything like that, and they're not in it for the right reasons, and sometimes that can harm the movement, I guess, to a degree, if people aren't being genuine. And there are, like you said, there are going to be people out there that are just doing it because it's trendy, thinking they can try and make money. There's so many different reasons, but I think it says a lot for YouTube in itself, not just vegans, but other people that have a channel, that if you stand up and enough people sort of voice their opinion saying that if the channel gets taken down, it's wrong, it's clearly been brought back. So I think that's fantastic that he's got his channel back.
Great, and just hopefully that moves forward and things, obviously, we can all support one another, because that's what it's all about, where we should be a community.
Yeah. So yeah, number two.
Number two, we're obviously talking about Veganuary. Veganuary's been an absolutely amazing year. Obviously, if you've just gone vegan or you've just recently went vegan in Veganuary, congratulations to you. We'd love to hear how you've actually benefited. If you haven't benefited in some way, please let us know as well. We'd love, obviously, to help you out in some way. But I think it was around about 250,000 sign-ups it actually had, wasn't it? So
yeah, 250,000. I think they were even saying in the article that they've actually had as many people sign up this year than they have between 2014 to 2018. So literally all those years combined, this year has been the best year than all of them combined. So that just shows how much it's grown over the few years. More of it's getting out there. There's more advertisement. It's fantastic.
It's absolutely been great. So here is actually the article here. We'll actually show you this, guys. Basically what it's saying is Veganuary celebrates biggest year ever with 250,000 sign-ups. The number of people taking the pledge in 2019 matched the total sign-ups for 2014 to 2018, which is absolutely massive, which obviously shows Veganuary how far veganism has obviously come in recent years. Absolutely amazing. Like I say, saying this year has seen Veganuary hit some major milestones. It expanded its global reach with 13 overseas partnerships, localized campaigns running in India, Sweden, Brazil, Argentina, Chile, Peru, Singapore, Malaysia, Australia, South Africa, Japan, Iceland and Russia. Another highlight of this year's campaign was the charity gaining the support of some fantastic news ambassadors and influencers keen to share their experiences of veganism, such as, said the charity, these included Chris Packham, footballer Hector Bellerin, and Harry Potter actor Ivana Lynch. They obviously said, our work has also been responsible for the booming veganuary effect amongst food producers. Obviously, you know as well, obviously Greggs, which has been a massive one if you're here in the UK. That's been absolutely great. It said countless retailers, found brands and chain restaurants have launched new vegan products during January to meet consumer demand from vegans and the millions choosing to reduce their consumption of animal products. With 250,000 participants this year, Veganuary is finishing at an all-time high. Rich Hardy, head of campaigns at Veganuary, said in a statement sent to Plant-Based News, we've given Brexit a run for its money this month. Oh, that's a contentious issue of Brexit. With our headline-hitting campaigns featuring almost daily across national and international media channels, I think Veganuary has reached critical mass now. Vegan living is growing, it's here to stay, it's part of the national conversation, and it is credibility that is great for news for people, animals and the planet. So there you go, it says it all really there.
Yeah, absolutely massive. I mean, it's one of those ones where you think if it's growing like that every single year, it makes you wonder what it's going to be like next year, the year after, and so forth. And you obviously had like the dairy trying to do their February thing, and that wasn't a success at all. If anything, it sort of brought out more, let people know more about veganism in a way. So that was fantastic. The fact that it was completely overshadowed by Veganuary, and it's still in the news today. People are still talking about it. I hope that the people that have gone vegan for Veganuary are still doing it, because obviously some people might have done it for just a month. But hopefully, if they started at the time of the month, and there's so much information, so many different options, so much stuff on social media, that it has never been easier to go vegan for Veganuary, but to stay for the foreseeable future, because there's a lot of information out there. There's more food coming out. It's easier than it was last year. And like I said, all it takes is for you just to plant that seed, and 250,000 people. I mean, I don't know what the percentages of how many will stay vegan for the foreseeable future. I don't know, but that's still a massive number, isn't it?
Absolutely. Like I say, that's the only kind of concern that you obviously get with Veganuary. And in my view, I don't know about everybody else's, but post-Christmas, obviously, a lot of people are obviously trying to lose weight. They're obviously trying to live their kind of New Year's resolutions and things, obviously hitting the gym. You're wondering if they're going vegan, obviously, for that reason, to lose a bit of quick weight and then obviously drop off the bandwagon, as the same goes. But I would say, even if 10% of them stay, or at least get the message in some way, and at least reduce their meat consumption, though that's not the end goal, it's at least something towards obviously helping the movement in a big way, in my view.
Yeah, well, like you said, like even if it was 10%, that's still a massive increase from the year before. That's going to be a massive increase in more vegan products. It's going to be a massive decrease in overall animal products. And obviously, if they're not consuming as many, they're not going to be producing as many. Shops will not be filling them up. They'll then realize there's more of a vegan trend. They'll start getting in more products, and that's how it's like a snowball effect, I guess. So I think it's fantastic. I mean, 250,000. I think that's over. Is it across like 13 countries? I think it was overall.
13 countries, and it's like Ellie's saying there, a lot of people on Veganuary's Facebook page have said they're staying, which is absolutely great news.
Because the thing is as well, is obviously sometimes it's very easy just to think that just America and just the UK, you know, English-speaking countries, is like we're the main ones for going vegan. So it's nice to see that you've got other countries, like non-speaking English countries, that this is making a difference in their country as well, especially places like Spain and Italy and like that, where they do have a lot of animal products. A lot of their culture is based around that. To have them move towards a plant-based diet or vegan diet, it's fantastic that they're breaking their traditions as well. It's not just America and the UK, because obviously we do get quite absorbed with just those two countries, don't we? Everything that's involved there, as opposed to what elsewhere.
I was actually, when we were actually talking in this, I'm actually reading this book at the moment. So if anybody's out there that's vegan or they're an activist, I thoroughly recommend this. It's The End of Animal Farming. they're basically talking about all the things like cultured meats and obviously how innovations are obviously growing to obviously end animal farming. It's an amazing, amazing book in my view, because it gives a lot of what we're actually talking about there, and why sometimes individual change doesn't always actually happen. It's more kind of institutional change, like a global thing. So people always want to always go vegan just because they wanted it. When they see that everybody's changing out with them, it's like that kind of global shift type thing.
Yeah,
I think that's really important to obviously look at as well, like how people obviously do change as well.
Because that's the thing as well. A lot of people are worried to go vegan for some of them because they don't know any other vegans. They're worried they'll be the only one. And
Yeah.
I think I watched the Plant-Based News interview with Dr. Clapper, and he said a lot of the reason why people fail is because they struggle socially. So if you've got more and more people that are going vegan, and the more people know each other, going out and eating out together, or just helping each other transition and stay there, that kind of like, oh, I'll do it if you do it, we'll do it together. That is a big support group. For a lot of people, they don't have that support group. That's why a lot of them fail.
That's why I always think as well, looking up things like Facebook and things for your meetup groups and things, that's really, really important, because if you look up meetup on your app, you'll find that there's probably a vegan group in your area. It's obviously good to meet up and obviously get some support as well, because obviously, you know, it's quite difficult with your family, because they're usually the last to actually get your message, because you find a lot of resistance of your family, it's a guarantee. But so obviously looking out with that. But I would say I don't always agree with people that obviously shun people because they're not vegan, because at the end of the day, that's closing yourself off at the end of the day, because you've got to understand that you weren't a vegan not that long ago, and we've all got to come to our own conclusion ourselves. Once we're faced with the truth, we can obviously make a conscious decision and actually do something about it. So I really think it's really, really bad when obviously people just shun them because they're no vegan. We've got to understand that people are trying their best, and at the end of the day, we've all got to come to that conclusion at some point and just make a conscious decision, in my view.
Yeah, because I guess like you said, like we have to realize, you know, have some empathy, have some compassion, because obviously at some point we were exactly where they were, and sometimes it's some people just, they'll listen to one person and then they won't listen to another. And for a lot of people, they're not just changing their diet, it is a whole complete and utter change for them. They can't do that overnight. And if you're someone, and again, this is the problem why some people say that, you know, vegans are judgmental and things like that, that if we try and put out information, all you need to do is plant a seed. You don't need to be sort of like, not so much forcing it down their throat, but if you make someone feel bad for not going it, it's like there's one book I'm reading at the minute, and it literally just said, like, you're not going to get anyone in your way of thinking if you start to criticize, condemn and complain about them. They're just literally going to switch off. Whether they agree with you or not, they're not going to, just because you put them down. And people are going to just shut, like, they'll shut you down because you're putting them down. They don't need to. So you've got to find a way in which, I guess, to show, you know, I was where you were. I can understand why it's difficult. Maybe if you take it in stages, take it in steps, try and learn, like read that book that you're suggesting to help people change their mindset, educate themselves, as opposed to having someone on YouTube or wherever putting them down and saying you shouldn't be doing that, you're bad, you know, animals are dying because of you. No one wants to know that. No one wants to hear that. And all they're going to do is, oh, you know, vegans, you know, they'll go off elsewhere and they'll go and listen to someone else that is more accommodating to them. So yeah, you know, we've got to like understand that people are coming from different areas, and we're not going to reach them by putting them down, by criticizing them. It just doesn't work that way at all.
One thing I was actually going to talk about that book as well, what it's actually telling you is that a lot of the countries obviously at some point probably won't go vegan, because you've got to look into the kind of industrial and obviously kind of constitutional reasons, and obviously the environmental things, that obviously a lot of these countries are actually really, really poor. And as sad as it is, for them it's viable to actually slaughter animals because it's the cheapest thing, and that's really, really sad to hear. But for them it's going to have to become into things like innovation, because a lot of these countries that are doing a lot of innovations for like cultured meats are in a lot of the richest countries in the world. Obviously the USA, which we know is the kind of leader, but a lot of these countries that are smaller ones that are going to have trouble is because they haven't got that kind of innovation, and obviously they can't get the industrial kind of power behind them to actually do that. So I think as well we're going to have to look at a way that we can actually help them as well, and obviously looking at farmers, because this is one thing I always, it's a contentious issue if you're a vegan activist. You'll always get farmers coming up to you at videos obviously saying, well, how do you expect me to change, because what do you do? I don't know anything else. And I think as activists, obviously we always say, look, we've got to look at it through the eyes of the victim rather than the oppressor, which is important, and that's really, really true. But also as well, we need to support them, because at the end of the day, if we want an industrial change, we want everything to change rapidly, we've actually got to support them in some way and give them a viable option that doesn't involve actual animal farming. In Scotland, that's really, really hard. In UK, I would say is hard as well. I know hemp is probably about the best kind of option, but I think that's something that we really need to look at to obviously support farmers and obviously help them get into kind of things like obviously cultured meats, plant-based products and things like that as well, and obviously fruit and vegetable farming, which is viable for them.
Because that's the thing is as well, is it they're obviously feeling attacked because they feel like their income is going to be attacked, and you know they could lose their homes, anything like that. So they're bound to be on the defensive because they're thinking, okay, these vegans are trying to get us shut down. They're trying to make it to a position where we can't make a living anymore. And obviously we've got to, like you said, like they're not so much the victim, but I guess we have to kind of see it from their side, where what's the best way to reach them? How's the best way that we can hopefully help them adapt to producing more plant-based foods and make it so they can actually live off it, so to speak, and not so much, because I know a lot of them are complaining that they're being made out to be the enemy and so forth, and getting a lot of hate through that, which whether that's just the vegans doing it, I don't know, but obviously we've got to find a way in which we can work with them, because at the minute, like, you know, via laws and different things like that, we can't just go around just hate one, because it's not going to get us anywhere at all.
So yeah, number 3 we were going to talk about is the Canada Food Guide. If you want to chat about that, Lee, you actually done a video on that recently, didn't you?
Yeah, so this was something that was it was really, really big. I mean, some people may not be completely aware of it, but every single country will come out with a food guide, and obviously that will be what the government will dictates what is a healthy diet. And if you're like a personal trainer and anyone like that, that is what you would make reference to when you were trying to give someone a healthy eating plan. So it used to be like a pyramid. If remember you were at school, it would, like, the pyramid at the bottom would be what you should eat most of, and there were so many servings, what those servings are made up, and as you got up to the top, it was like maybe like junk food or oils, and it was just to give you an idea of serving sizes, how much you should have, and what predominantly your diet should be made up of. Then it got changed to the plate, and obviously the plate's easier for people to get an idea of like what their plate is made up of, and obviously that was broken up into different food groups, and then they would say like how much of your plate should be made up of something else, and usually a big portion of that would be animal products. They would have an area dedicated just to that. They would have dairy, they would have a glass of milk that you should be having on the side, and they would promote that for calcium and so forth. And the reason why this was such a big story was because Canada came out with a new plan which virtually nearly removed most of the animal products. They removed the dairy. They literally just had a glass of water, saying that people should be drinking more water and focusing more on hydration, not so much on fruit juices. They didn't recommend any milk or anything like that for dairy at all. They had half the plate made up of fruit and vegetables, and then they had a quarter of it made up with like whole grains, and then they had a quarter made up of protein. And the thing that was amazing about this is usually when they talk about protein, they're just referring to, you know, eggs, maybe some yogurts, like apparently lean cuts of meat, maybe some red, or they'll say limit to how many servings you should have of red or processed meat. But what this section was made up of was plant protein and meat protein. So they had like chickpeas, lentils, soya and stuff like that. They had, I think it was like half an egg, a little bit of salmon. I think there was some chicken on there as well. And obviously I know some people are going to say, well, it's not vegan, you know, they still shouldn't be eating it. This is a huge step in the right direction for plant-based eating, because if you compare it to old food guides from previous years, not just in Canada, but in our country and so forth, this is a huge step in the right direction. The fact that 3/4 of that plate is whole foods. It's basically a vegan diet, and in the last quarter, just protein, which everyone seems to focus on when it comes to vegans and are they getting enough protein and everything like that. The reason why this is so powerful is because they're putting plant protein and meat, animal-based protein, in the same category. They're not saying you have to eat this protein or you're not going to get enough. They're saying get your protein from these sources. So again, if you got half of your protein from that, you look at nearly 80-85% of that whole food guide is a whole foods plant-based diet, which is going to get people into thinking that their whole diet can center around plants, what the vegans are talking about when they're promoting a plant-based diet, this is something that resembles what the Canadian government is putting out. And obviously, if they've got that power, they're going to start putting that into maybe schools and so forth. And then obviously, if they promote that for children, people are going to look at it and think, okay, this is a diet we can feed our kids. It's going to debunk those ideas that you shouldn't be feeding this diet to children, you can't sustain on this diet. So it was a massive step for the vegan plant-based movement. A huge story, I think.
We've actually got it here. I'll actually show you the link if we've got it here. It's number 3. Can you see that? Yeah?
Yeah, I can see that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so basically this is the plate here. As you can see, as Lee's actually saying, this is just the protein foods that they're talking about. So you've only got a little bit of beef, you've got a little bit of chicken, you've got an egg there, obviously, quarter an egg, I think that is, a bit of salmon, most of it's beans, and look at, you've got this big massive portion here, which is obviously the fruit and the vegetables, and obviously the whole grain. So that's a big massive step forward. But what actually Lee was saying, like I say, there's actually been a study done by the Oxford Uni this year, which was actually a 5-year study looking into farming damage on the environment. And they actually proved that if we adopt a plant-based diet, we could actually save agriculture land by 75%. So that's massive. So this kind of thing here is really good, but it's obviously Canada. So hopefully the UK will adopt that. But The Guardian actually published a study as well. It was an article, how to avoid the rising 2 degrees from global warming temperature here in the UK. And they actually said that we have to look at our ability to reduce our beef, our pig, our lamb consumption by around about 90% and dairy by 60%. So it's actually huge, and hopefully this kind of thing will obviously trickle out. And it's a big, big thing for Canada, because they are where we're quite a lot like the UK, to be honest. Like I say, a lot of animal farming, and so big, big step. Yeah,
and the fact this isn't just, you know, some small organisation. This is a government for a whole country. Canada is a massive country, obviously very, very close to America. So the idea that they might have ties, maybe they might work together and then maybe help America adopt more of a food guide sort of towards that. But like you said, like I do think one of the biggest players in this is the environmental impact of animal agriculture, because obviously a lot of people are pushing for that. It's a big thing in the minute, like you said, the, you know, moving towards 1.5, 2 degrees and so forth, and the impact that's going to have. People are starting to listen a little bit more, because like the weather we've got now, this random snowstorm and everything like that. People, I think, was it America's got like -57? I think, was it in Minnesota or Chicago -30?
Canada's been exactly the same, to be honest. They've had absolutely, like, I've seen quite a lot. I don't know if you ever watch Logan Blake's channel. He's done quite a few, like he's been out there running and things like that, and it was like -30 odd and things, and the icicles hanging from his nose and things.
That's what I mean. Like, we're all feeling the effects of, obviously people will say there's no such thing as global warming, but we're all seeing the effects. So I think there's a big, huge movement just from the environmental impact. And I think Canada are obviously realizing that there is a huge impact on the environment with animal agriculture. So they probably think that if we start promoting this as a food guide, people will start listening, and we can start making a real difference to the planet by removing animal products from our diet.
Absolutely. So yeah, what we're actually going to move on to now is the maps of farms. If you've probably been seeing it quite a lot, you've heard this online, that the farmers are actually hitting out, obviously, because the people are obviously taking maps of where their dairy farms are, and they're saying that it's been used to obviously attack them and obviously demonize their ethical business. So yeah, we'll have a look at this, but here it is here, if you haven't seen it. This is actually from Plant-Based News. They're saying the campaigners behind the interactive map want to expose what they describe as the dirty business of dairy farming, but farmers feel they've been exposed to harassment. What's always like Vegan Cheetah says, where's the receipts? Vegan activists have published an interactive online map showing the locations of hundreds of dairy farms across England and Wales. The map, created by Project CAF, is part of the campaign by the organisation to expose unsavoury practices within the dairy industry. It follows a similar map featuring 6,000 factory farms and slaughterhouses in Australia, but being published by Dominion Director Chris Delforce. if you obviously haven't seen Dominion, go check that out. If you can actually bear to watch it, it's really, really difficult. Even I couldn't, but I thoroughly recommend that. It says Project Calf says 24 male or bobby calves are killed every hour. It calls on people to use the information publicised in the map to document animal suffering on these facilities via citizen journalism, peaceful protesting and outreach. Locate a dairy farm using our maps, it says, using public footpaths, obtain the footage of cows in separation pens, talk to farmers about dairy practices, let the farmers know the dirty business as everyone's involved. So obviously it's saying scandalous. The farmers have responded to the map with fury, with one Sally Reedman branding it absolutely scandalous and will destroy people's livelihood. It's absolutely disgusting. The website is full of incorrect facts too. She added, our oldest cow is 18, we're on the map, and you know what it says there, locals in the village sharing the FB page and the local website and local spotted all selling sites. Cheers for that. Make us a target. Everyone is welcome to your opinion. We'd just like them to have a true, accurate facts before we make them. So, yeah, I don't know what your opinion on that is, Lee. Like I could say, at the end of the day, I think if they've got nothing to hide, they should be open to that because...
Yeah, precisely. To me, it just screams that they're worried that if people find out what is going on, people will stop consuming their products. And like there isn't anything like, they're not making arguments saying, no, we look after our animals, there's such and such, we abide by welfare issues, anything like that. It's literally like, you're affecting our livelihood. It's the only thing that they care about. And obviously I think they know that if people are aware of what's going on, where these farms are, people are going to come and see what's going on, and people aren't going to stop buying their products. So it's not so much we're losing our livelihood because they're exposing us, it's we'll lose our livelihood once people find out what we actually do. And I think it was in there, it was how many calves are killed every...
I think it's, what was that, 150?
Yeah, 24 calves are killed every hour.
Yeah, it's like 150,000 pregnant cows are actually slaughtered every year, which is absolutely disgusting. Like I say, I've seen it myself, obviously working in a slaughterhouse away back in the near 2000 when I actually left. I seen plenty of fetuses lying at the carcasses of their slaughtered mothers. It's disgusting. Like I say, there's a reason why, as the old saying goes, slaughterhouses don't have glass walls, because you wouldn't purchase it, you wouldn't want to be involved with it if you actually knew where your actual food comes from, as the saying goes.
I think that's why they say that a lot of slaughterhouse workers get PTSD and everything like that, because just seeing it is really traumatic, and that should be something for people to take notice of, just because if people are suffering from that, what people get when they go to war and they're seeing that in slaughterhouses, that just shows what must really go on in these slaughterhouses. There's no such thing as humane slaughter if people are coming away with it, like, you know, getting mental health issues because of what they're seeing or what they're performing themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm the prime example of that. I suffer from PTSD because I'm working in that slaughterhouse. So you've got to think it as well. It's not just a place where there's obviously suffering to obviously non-human animals. There's suffering in both sides of the scale, because I do believe that there's this small percentage that actually get privilege and like some type of, I don't know, love out actually doing that type of work, because I've seen quite a lot of guys actually say, oh, it's the only job in this earth that you get paid for actually killing somebody. You know, and it's legal. But a lot of these guys are actually getting through the day on alcohol, they're taking heroin and things like that to actually slaughter the animals. So that shows that they don't actually want to be doing the job. They actually hate it. And at the end of the day, a lot of these guys are actually, they're basically enslaved just the same way, because they're getting paid very, very little wages. At that time, back in the year 2000, which is quite a little while away, but I was getting £2.50 an hour and I was working the production line. So wasn't slaughtering animals, but part of my job was actually to go through to the slaughterhouse, the killing hall, and collect the offal in the morning. So I would actually see the animals getting slaughtered and things like that. So I've seen the whole process for the production line all the way through. So I've had a lot of obviously discussion talking about that, done a lot in the media as well. So like Lee says, there's suffering on all sides of the scale.
Well, I guess that's the thing, is like, it's hard position, because obviously some people, like some vegans, will have hatred towards slaughterhouse workers, but some of them don't want to be doing it. For them, it's not possible or practical for them not to do it. It's a difficult place for them, because some of them don't want to be doing it, but they don't have any choice. But I guess the ones that seem to enjoy it, I mean, surely that should be a warning sign to the police that they've got someone who's potentially dangerous on them. Because I know if you've got kids that like to harm animals, they see that as a risk factor, that they're going to be problems when they're old. And obviously, if you see those videos of like Earthlings or Land of Hope and Glory, where you see those people that are kicking the animals and they're enjoying it, I don't understand why that isn't a warning sign to the police or anyone else that you've got like a dangerous person that you're dealing with, who gets a kick out of harming animals. It's it's ridiculous. But I mean, did you say this was in Australia, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So whether this will come to here, whether it will benefit, but like I said, I think it just shows. Key point is, they do not want people to know what they're doing. They're scared that people will know and they'll give up their product. So surely that should be a warning sign to people that, all right, what is our money going towards? What are the conditions of these animals and why are they so terrified?
It's exactly like Jenna Lee saying there. Go Vegan World actually posted negatively about this map, saying it wasn't a positive move on Facebook. It's kind of surprising why they would do something like that. Like I say, that's just backfiring your own movement at the end of the day, in my view. I
guess some of them, they try and do that to make out that they're a different sort of vegan and they're trying to be compassionate. But I don't think they realise that if they've got a voice like that, that is a negative, pointless thing to do, really. And if anything, it hurts the movement to a degree. Should we go on to 5?
Yeah, number 5 is, sorry, we're actually, farmers give up lambs. That's what we're actually moving on to. So this was basically a sanctuary had obviously taken on like 20 lambs that this guy had actually obviously given up. So that was a big move. And I've seen quite a lot of this recently. There was one in Ireland as well, very recently. They've done the very same thing. So this farmer gives 20 lambs to sanctuary as they can't face slaughtering them. So that just shows you they do have some kind of empathy and compassion in their heart, because I do believe that they do in some way love their animals. They just don't see what they're doing is wrong because they know no better. At the end of the day, they've been conditioned to believe that this is part of their job, that this is how things work, that this is a circle of life, they're top of the food chain at the end of the day. That's what they believe. So this Devon farmer realised that he was too upset to have the animals killed after finding the journey to the slaughterhouse too hard, and instead decided to let them live out their days in peace. It says a farmer is given 20 lambs to a sanctuary after he was too upset to send them to slaughter. Devon-based Sivalingam, whatever that name is, Vasan Fakuma, told the BBC he hated seeing the animals put through the stress of travelling to the abattoir before being killed. So instead, he took them to the Good Heart Animal Sanctuary near Kidderminster, almost 200 miles from his farm in Totnes. I just couldn't cope anymore, and I had to say no, he said, obviously. It was taking them to slaughterhouse and it was stressing me out a lot. I realised this year I couldn't do it. The emotional toll had become too much. I hated seeing the animals go through that stress. As a result, he decided to change his careers and will grow vegetables instead. So that's absolutely amazing as well. Just what we were talking about earlier on there, the move from obviously animal farming into plant-based products. So he's showing that obviously that's a viable option. He's obviously looking into it. I think as well, if you go into the Vegan Society, they've got the Grow Green report, which is absolutely great. It obviously helps farmers obviously transition. So that's amazing as well. So great news, and some more animals saved into the bargain at the end of the day. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, because I think that there's been quite a few different stories like that where farmers have finally realised what's going on and they've woken up, or they've decided to go and adopt a plant-based way of living. And I think it does help other farmers to realise that maybe they don't need to be a part of it, and there is support out there to help them move towards more of a plant-based farming. But that's an amazing story, the fact that, like, after all those years, like you said, they've been conditioned to it. I mean, they might be several generations of farmers to then come to that conclusion. It's a powerful thing for the vegan movement to show that these people that are, you could say, primarily, like, it's the reason why they're there is because of them to a degree, that they can change the way they think and feel about these animals and say, you know, I don't want to be a part of this anymore. What I've seen, what I've been a part of, I can't do it anymore. I'm going to give these animals up. They can live in peace. That's a powerful motivator for hopefully other farmers, but other people can realize that where they're buying their food from, if the farmers are feeling this about them, why don't they? So I think it's it's a great story.
That's why, obviously, I do a lot with the Save movement. That's why when you see a lot of farmers, you speak to them as they draw up in their trucks, they actually tell you, look, I can't see my animals go beyond that gate. So that shows you in some way that they don't want to actually see the process. They don't want to be a part of it. It's just at the end of the day, they don't know any way out of this actual institution and industry that they're in. That's why, like I was saying earlier on, as hard as it is, we've got to try and help them transition and give them kind of viable options, because I feel that's where our stumbling block is. At the end of the day, if we can't show them compassion, how do we expect them to actually have any compassion at all? I say we should be compassionate towards all human beings at the end of the day. Yeah, we don't obviously agree with what they're doing, but we've got to try and obviously help them as well and move away from that as well. And that's how the movement's going to change. It's got to change in that, in my view.
I guess that sums up us as a society, though, is that kind of like, if we push it to the side, we don't see what happens and we ignore it, we can keep doing what we're doing. I think so many people, they must realize that when they're eating their animal products on their plate, they know an animal's died, but because they haven't seen the process, they want to ignore it, and they can ignore it, they can keep doing what they're doing. So like, I think a lot of farmers are probably like that. They don't want anything to do with that part. It's they rear up, they help them grow, everything like that, and then they pass it on to someone else, and they don't want to know about it. Maybe they're sad when they see their animals go, I don't know, but like you said, I think we have to get to that point where we offer them support, because at the end of the day, they're producing our food, so we need to find a way in which they can continue to do it, make a living from it, but transition towards plant-based living. I think we've brought it up before, I think in the last video, that maybe if the government steps in and starts offering more subsidies for farmers that are doing plant-based foods, maybe start taking it away from the ones that are doing animal-based ones, and maybe even put in schemes where it can help them buy equipment or whatever it is to help them transition towards that. And surely if they've got a certain amount of land, I think you brought it up, that you can produce more plant products on a given land than you can on with animals, they should be able to produce more food, so potentially they'll be able to make more money, as long as obviously the government is there to support them. But whether we can step in and try and do a petition, I don't know, that can help the government realize that this is what we want. And if we continue to support animal products, it's a detriment to the environment, and obviously that is a key thing. And obviously the health implications you brought up earlier about a lot of the chronic diseases that we are suffering from is from diet and lifestyle. The government are paying money into products that are producing a stress on the NHS, so we can get them to realize that if we get them to put it into foods that can help the NHS save money, save lives, maybe they'll start pumping more money towards plant-based farmers, possibly.
That's got to happen at the end of the day. That really has. So yeah, great points. But what we're going to talk about now is animal rights versus animal welfare, a contentious issue in the vegan movement always, like I say. So here it is, here if it will load up, guys. Oh, is it? Don't know what's happened here. Animal welfare versus animal rights, they're two different concepts, but I wonder how many of us know the difference. So yeah, obviously animal rights versus animal welfare. Recently what happened, obviously if you don't know, our Save movement here in Scotland, we've actually been starting a live export thing. I find it a contentious issue because you wonder what's crossing the board. Is that vegan or is that animal rights? And it can blur the lines of veganism, in my opinion, because at the end of the day, I feel vegan advocacy is the way forward, rather than looking at obviously the inside things, like obviously live exports and obviously the temperature of trucks and things like that. Yeah, it's really important, but at the end of the day, vegan advocacy, in my opinion, is the way that encapsulates all that, and we should be looking at the abolition of animal products altogether, and abolition of the industry. That's really important in my view. I don't know about what Lee thinks on that point.
Yeah, it's a difficult thing, like you said. It's something that a lot of people talk about. I think the main issue that we have is, obviously we want to fight for sort of like animal rights and that they have a right to life and everything like that, but the law doesn't support that view. Unfortunately, we've got animals that have a right to life, that they have value, where others do not. So I guess it's that idea that you try and do the best that you can with what you've got. And at the minute, we don't have the law behind us. Hopefully we can work towards a law that can be put in place where these animals do have a right to life, and that they're not used for what they're used for, but working towards creating better welfare. It's shitty, let's be honest. Like, how can you provide better welfare and use it as an excuse to keep doing what you're doing? But I guess if they make better welfare, that these animals will suffer less, possibly. I don't know. It's a hard one to argue, because obviously you don't want to argue for welfare, because at the end of the day, the animal still suffers and the animal still dies. But if we can make the animal suffer less, is that a win for the vegan movement? Possibly. But at the minute, the law isn't on our side for it. We can't do anything because farmers and the idea of it, the law supports them, and these animals are seen as food and nothing more. You can't even steal them. You can't even take them. Even if they have a crash on the side of the road, those animals still belong to that farmer. And if you take them, you could be done for theft. So it's a difficult one, I think.
Absolutely, but it's something we've really got to look at. And like Lee's just saying, at the end of the day, if it's really, really hard, but the way to look at it is if there's some kind of less suffering. Is that possible? But you know, it's a hard one. It's something we all need to look at. So yeah, what we're on to, we're on to the Kellogg's thing. To discuss what we're actually, this was Lee that actually sent me this one. I don't know a great deal about it. If you want to talk about it, Lee, the food giant Kellogg's ending animal testing after 65 years. Yeah,
it was basically Kellogg's have agreed to end the use of animals in harmful and deadly tests for food products and ingredients, striking a deal with animal rights PETA. And I think this is fantastic, just because they're such a huge company, and obviously there's more and more companies out there that are standing up and saying that they're not going to be doing animal testing. There's loads of different like clothing brands are saying they're not going to be doing that anymore. There's loads of different like toiletry things that are saying that they're not going to be testing on animals. So I guess this is fantastic, because it's another big company that is moving in the right direction of saying that we don't want to be a part of that anymore. Maybe they're worried that if they still do it, they'll lose custom, whatever their agenda for doing it. I think it's great when you see a company like this step up and say that, right, we're not going to be doing this anymore. They're going to end animal testing. I think it's fantastic.
Absolutely, it really, really is. I don't know if you can actually see the article. Have I got it up yet?
No.
Wait, I'll just get it up for you. Here it is here.
Yeah,
so,
that's it.
Food giant Kellogg's end animal testing after 65 years. The world's leading cereal maker, the Kellogg company, is stricken a deal with the PETA US after more than 11 years of extensive discussion regarding animal testing, which is absolutely amazing. It says the Kellogg's company, who tested in animals for 65 years, was urged by PETA US to stop conducting and funding experiments on animals in 2007. Vice President US Charlene Gala said the global food industry is recognising that no marketing claim can possibly excuse force feeding, poisoning, suffocating and killing gentle rats in cruel and deadly tests. PETA applauds the company's decision to embrace the superior non-animal research methods. Kellogg's have now joined a growing list of food production companies to ban animal testing, such as Coca-Cola, McCain Foods and House Foods. Absolutely amazing. They're all massive, massive conglomerate companies, so it's a big step forward.
Yeah, and like I said, that list that you had there, all those different companies that are going to be doing it. I mean, there's some of the biggest companies out there. You've got Coca-Cola, McCain's. Coca-Cola is one of the biggest out there. So the fact that they're doing it as well, it's getting more of the message out there that animal testing is wrong and they don't want to be a part of it anymore.
Absolutely. It's a really, really big step forward. So what we're on to now, we're on to number 8, which is actually the vegan leather, which is a great, great step forward. This has been something that obviously I know quite a bit about, obviously working in a slaughterhouse, obviously the hides coming off the animals. It's disgusting, guys, and it just shows you that there is options out there, and leather is something that's big in the fashion industry. So this is it here, if you can actually get the article up. Says vegan leather brewed in a lab. As soon as I meet Andrew Forecast, We head outside into the freezing cold of Davos. Naturally, he reaches for his coat, but I'm slightly surprised at what he pulls out. It's not just a normal black puffer jacket. As the founder and chief executive of a start-up firm that has created a vegan leather alternative, I expected him to be wearing a coat made out of material. In reality, it's a bit too soon for that. Modern Meadow, the company he set up 8 years ago, is still producing the fabric he designed in only small quantities. Nonetheless, the same way the rapid growth in the popularity of vegan food, from hamburgers to sausage rolls and chicken alternatives, is shaking up the food industry, he believes his firm can help do the same with the 200 billion, 153 billion leather industry. He said it's a massive market and with massive shortcomings. You can have to raise an animal in a field using up water, gas, and obviously creating greenhouse gas emissions, and then transfer the hide halfway around the country. So yeah, that's a big step forward, and it's something that should be absolutely great in the movement as well. Like I say, moving away from that as well, which is really important. Animal testing, leather, everything like that is really good to actually see.
We'll say like the key point obviously they're making out there is sort of the environmental impact. But obviously you could just you got to think of the amount of animals that are killed to create a 153 billion industry. It is, but the thing is, they use leather for everything. Leather's virtually in everything. So I think if they're able to create, I don't understand the big thing about leather, like why people like wearing it, the look of it. I've never been a fan of it, but it's that big that they've got that much of a big industry. But something like this can hopefully shake it up. And if they're going to use the argument of environmental impact, I mean, whatever excuse they use, if they're going to stop doing this, I think that's fantastic. But Brewed Lab, again, hopefully that's going to be something huge. And I think someone said like it's the same as fur. They're things that you're wearing that you don't need to wear. There isn't a need for it at all. You can't make a justification, like some people might use justification of you need to eat animal products for health because they're still under that delusion that you need to, whether they've grown up with it. But there is no need to wear leather. There is no need to wear fur. There's no need to wear any animal at all. So it's a bit of a weaker argument, but I do think this is a fantastic step in the right direction. The fact that they're able to grow this, and that will have hopefully combat that huge industry. 153 billion is incredible, isn't it?
It's absolutely, it's unbelievable. But I think they always use the old argument. Well, at the end of the day, as long as we use all the animal, then it's good. You know what I mean? That's always the argument they use to try and justify what they're actually doing. Yeah,
as if efficiency is a good enough justification. The fact that, well, because we have so many uses out of the animal, it's not needless because it's fully used, nothing's wasted, so that's fine, let's carry on. It's a weak argument, a really weak argument.
Well, the next one we're actually moving on to is the new first chicken lab-grown meat. Lab-grown meat is a contentious issue in my opinion, because at the end of the day, if it's obviously stem cells, that's where we move into the problematic area. In my view, that's still exploiting the animal in quite a lot of ways. But obviously, it's going to look appealing to people that's obviously going vegan and they're really big meat eaters at the end of the day. Is it more ethical? It's a hard one to look upon. So this is the article we're actually going to show you. It says, world's first lab-grown $100 chicken nugget comes to the UK, which, yeah, $100. It's
a bit pricey, just a bit.
Yeah, just a bit pricey. I think they're falling into the trap there. Oh, veganism isn't cheap. The world's first grown lab chicken nugget has arrived in the UK and it costs about $100 to make. English TV presenter Helen Skelton-Myler has become the first person in the UK to try slaughter-free chicken made by California-based food tech company Just, the makers of the vegan liquid egg. Oh, that vegan liquid egg is absolutely amazing. I see a lot of people in the US getting that. This is something we need to get in the UK. But the Daily Mail reporter reports that the former co-presenter of BBC's Blue Peter took part in ITV's food challenge Meat vs Vegan, where she avoids eating meat and dairy for 4 weeks. In a short video clip, she meets Just CEO and founder Josh Tetrick to try a lab-grown chicken nugget. It is a nugget that didn't require killing a chicken, and that's the way all meat should be, she says. He explains that we don't need to choose between veggie burgers and a real burger. So you take a chicken, right? We take the cell, and this is what I'm talking about there. We feed the nutrients to the cell. Think about what a chicken would eat. Tetrick continues, nuts or berries or corn or soy. We do the exact same thing without needing the chicken, right? And then we put that cell in a thing called a fermentator or bioreactor. It doubles, 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 and you get a nugget, explains. So is it a step forward? I would say it's a big step forward, but it's not obviously something that as vegans we would obviously advocate or we'd obviously eat ourselves, but it is a big step forward from obviously somebody that's maybe flexitarian, they're wanting to obviously move forward to try and transition to a fully vegan lifestyle. That is it vegan? I wouldn't say it is vegan. It's plant-based because it still involves some kind of suffering in my view.
Yeah, this is probably, out of all the sort of news that we're covering today, this is probably the one that would create the most discussion, I think, because like you said, like, it's not strictly vegan. There's still going to be exploitation involved on there at some point. I would say this is more of an environmental thing that they're putting into place, the reason why they're doing it, because I know a lot of animals aren't going to be killed for it, but there still is exploitation. There's still going to be a lot of animals that aren't going to die because of it, but I think it is more of an environmental thing they're putting into place, because you think, like, if they're able to produce all this meat without having to have all that land, all of those resources, that's going to be, I think, the biggest reason why they would go for it. And like you said, it's going to suit those people that they'll never go vegan. Like, this is going to be food for them. Problem is with it is that you're still going to get the health problems you're going to get from consuming animal products. And again, the way it is grown, some people might not have it because they don't like the idea that their burger or their whatever it is was grown in a lab. A lot of people aren't going to like that. But I think this is going to be moving towards the environmental issue that we're facing at the minute in animal agriculture. This is going to be a big sort of fight against that, I think, personally. It's not vegan. I mean, I wouldn't even classify it as plant-based because you're still eating animal products, but yeah, it's how do they initially start it? Obviously, they take some cells, but is it from that one cell and then they can replicate that over and over again? Or is it going to be something that they're going to have to, every now and again, keep taking off cells? They're going to have to keep animals alive for that purpose, maybe. I don't know. I think it will make a huge difference.
Jenna Lee brings up a really, really good point, actually. She's saying the animals make the best use of their own bodies. She says, if this clean meat ever did become cheap enough to eat, I'd feed it to my companion animals. That is an absolutely great point, Jenna Lee, actually, because as vegans, that's something we always look at. At the end of the day, sometimes you've obviously got to feed your animals what they need, especially if you've got a cat. Obviously, taurine's a really important one. I've got to be honest, my animals aren't vegan because they've got health problems as well, which makes it really impossible for them to actually be plant-based at all, because they can't obviously digest certain things that's obviously vegan. So looking at that would be a big step forward, and that's a really, really good point in my view.
Do you get a lot of hate from that, from vegans and non-vegans alike?
Of course you do at the end of the day, because they obviously say, well, why do you fight for one animal but you feed your animals other animals? But at the end of the day, the thing is, the way I look at it, being vegan is about doing what's best for the animal. At the end of the day, if that really bothers you as much as that, I would say don't have an animal. I mean, it's difficult.
Yeah, it is a difficult thing, and I think we're at a point now, the way that they've been bred and everything like that, we have a responsibility for them. And obviously, if they want to try raising their animal on a vegan diet, if they can do it, fine, go for it. But the primary thing that you have to have in place is that animal's welfare, like that animal's health. If you making it go vegan and that animal's health goes down and their health is, an issue now because of what you're doing, I wouldn't say that's vegan at all. The fact that you're making an animal suffer, if anything, reduces health, it could possibly die because you're saying that it shouldn't eat animal products. I think that's wrong. If you want to try it, go for it. But the primary thing is the animal's health overall, in my opinion. But yeah, the lab grown meat, I think it will come into play. Obviously, it's not going to cost $100. I think they said, like, just because of the actual process, just the one is going to cost $100. Obviously, like, the more money that gets put into it, the more they can do it, obviously the cheaper it will be. But that could be the future. Is that better than what we've got now? Most certainly it is a lot better. You think the amount, is it 70 billion every single year, just land animals killed, and then it's in the trillions when it comes to fish. you've got to think that amount of animals that aren't going to be killed. There might be some that are kept in their stem cells or whatever like that are kept in their repeatedly, reproduced or whatever. That is going to be a lot better than what we've got now. Environmental impact is going to be a huge change. I can't imagine it looking very nice, just rows and rows of buildings where it's like loads of like grown in meat. It's going to look a little bit weird, but is it better than what we've got? I think it is a lot better.
This is a contentious issue as well when we talk about obviously farmed animals and the amount of land that's used and things. Factory farming is really, really bad. It's dire, to be honest. But if we were to move to the argument that a lot of people use, where we should move to like free range farming, because that's
grass fed and all that lot.
But yeah, but this is the issue here. If we were to move to that and they were out in big pastures, green pastures, we wouldn't have the land, the resources to actually accommodate that. We wouldn't have the food, the water. We just couldn't do that. So sadly, as it is, factory farming is the only way, that the most sustainable way. But it's that's the situation we're in at the end of the day at the moment, and that's where we need to look at. But at the end of the day, the free range and things like that just wouldn't be possible. It's not a way forward. It's about ending all exploitation of animals altogether. That's the only way to do it. But I feel as well, what we need to stop doing is it a good thing to be, like, maybe further down the line, you see a lot of activists talking about we should maybe be going to Parliament and lobbying to end farming altogether. Is that a good thing? Because at the end of the day, if we were lobbying at Parliament to end farming, as in not helping them transition to plant-based food, is that a good thing? Are we progressing the movement, or are we just trying to end animal farming? That's another issue we need to obviously look at as well, I think.
It's going to be something that definitely won't happen overnight. 10, 20, 30 years. It could even be longer than that. I mean, you don't know how long this is going to come into place. But it's something that, like you said, it's a difficult thing. You can't just like end it all. It's not going to work. And the shit situation is that factory farming and an environmental aspect is the better of the two situations. It's the more sustainable. And that's how horrible it is, because, like I said, like you pointed out, like, we don't have the land, we don't have the resources to have grass fed. And a lot of people use the argument that it's okay if you eat meat as long as it's grass fed and your animals are free range. But I think it was in America, they loosened the term of what grass fed could mean. Like, it doesn't actually dictate how often they actually have to be out. There's a lot of wiggle room there for them, but this is going to be better from an environmental impact. This is going to be a lot better when it comes to an ethical standpoint, but there still is going to be an ethical issue. Is it better than what we've got now? Definitely. How it will work and how long it will take to come into force, I think it could be 10 years, 20 years. I don't know. I know a lot of people have argued about, like, how do you put it into place? Yeah. What's going to happen to all the animals that we've got now? And I know a lot of people go, well, if you go vegan overnight, what's going to happen to all the animals? Like, are you going to kill them all? Or are we going to be, the world's going to be overtaken by animals? It's not going to happen overnight at all.
So the natural decline is, as we stop breeding them into existence, they'll obviously decline. They'll start living out their lives naturally. The wild animals that are actually, the species extinction that's happening every single day. We've got around about 130 species that are going extinct every single day because of animal agriculture. As that starts to dwindle down, the natural animals, the wild animals, will come back into existence. And obviously that will all happen as well. And we've got to obviously realise that the animals that we are farming, they're not even natural animals anyway, because we are injecting them with antibiotics and hormones to make them twice their size. Even chickens that are not actually native to this country, they're native to Southeast Asia, which is a guinea fowl and things like that. So they're not.
A lot of them have had their DNA genetically modified so they can have bigger breasts and so forth. And I think there was that one of that cow that is like ridiculously muscular or something, where they've obviously found something in their DNA that they can alter that suddenly makes them just pack on a huge amount of muscle. Yeah, I mean, it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to be over a slow progress. Like that is, I think that's why a lot of us vegans, YouTubers, whatever it is, are promoting that we have to make an impact on the supply and demand chain, because that's where the change is going to happen. If we start reducing the amount of animal products out, they'll just put less and less out. They'll then stop having to impregnate as many cows and so forth, and it will slowly dwindle down over so many years. But what do you think that the end result will, like, will these animals continue to live, or do you think they'll be able to survive in the wild? What do you think the fate of cows, pigs and chickens will be once we stop farming them?
Well, I would absolutely say they're not going to survive in the wild, because at the end of the day, we've domesticated the animals into existence in the first place. They rely on us. So the only other way that we can do it is obviously by sanctuaries and things like that. But then we come into the issue, is there enough sanctuaries actually to take in these animals? To let you all know about this, letting this out there, I'm actually part of a team that's actually working to actually get a sanctuary up and running. We're actually looking for funding and things like that. Once this video is uploaded in my channel, I'll actually link it down below. It's going to be called the Every Kind Sanctuary. So it's going to look after animals all the way from dogs right up to donkeys. So it'll be everything encapsulated. Because of this reason, the basic why we're doing this is because it's become a necessity, because here in the UK, a lot of the sanctuaries are full to the brim. They're actually not been able to take on cows, pigs and things like that. So that's what I'm talking about there, is sanctuaries are overloaded with things. So we're getting to the point we need to look at things in a different perspective, and obviously where we move from here. So there's an awful lot of things that we need to do, researching and things, and how to actually help things move forward.
Right. Should we go number 10?
Number 10, yeah, number 10 is the BBC Vegan Deficient. Absolutely amazing. So another backlash to obviously the vegan movement because of veganuary, the big boom. So yeah, what they're actually saying here is vegan diet could have severe consequences. Professor warns. A poorly planned vegan diet, and this is a key word here, poorly planned. At the end of the day, do your research. Obviously, look up things like nutritionfacts.org, follow the top vegan doctors, Dr. Gregor, Dr. Clapper, things like that. Look into properly planned vegan diets, because the British Dietetic Association, the American Dietetic Association actually tell you that a properly planned vegan diet is good for all stages of life, including pregnancy. So blast that right out the park, guys. But what they're saying is Professor Chris Elliott said a lack of essential micronutrients could have severe consequences and lead to hidden hunger in developing world. Poor bone health, lower omega-3 and iodine levels, and a vitamin B12 deficiency are among those cited. But vitamin B12, what we actually need to look at here as well is the soil is so depleted now, because we sanitize the soil, that the animals don't even get the B12 that we're actually trying to filter through when we're eating animal products. So they're injected with B12 as well. So at the end of the day, that's just absolutely silly. So at the end of the day, everybody should be having a B12 supplement regardless. But hidden hunger occurs when the quality of poor food eat does not meet the nutrient requirements. But dietitian from the Vegan Society has refuted these claims. Well-planned vegan diets, as we said, contain all the nutrients that our bodies need. Heather Russell told the BBC News Northern Ireland, veganism, why it's obviously on the up, why you obviously go vegan, and why it's just going vegan is just a fad. There are 4 times as many vegans in the UK as there were 4 years ago. They do not eat meat, poultry, fish, or any other products derived from animals, including eggs, dairy, proteins, and gelatin. They're saying there that we work with the British Dietetic Association to share the message that they can support healthy living in all ages. So, yeah, another kind of backlash, obviously, why you shouldn't go vegan, try to stem the obviously exponential growth of the vegan movement.
I think, like, the point with it as well is they make out that a poorly planned vegan diet is potentially fatal, but we've also got to look at the majority of people who have got a poorly planned diet. The majority of people aren't eating healthily anyway, and I think most people, regardless of what diet you follow, would say that you need to have a properly planned, a varied diet, because you're not going to get all your vitamins in 3 or 4 different foods. You need to eat a varied diet, whether you're a vegan, whether you're a carnivore, whatever it is. You need to have a varied diet, and that's the problem, is that people aren't eating that to begin with. And then the idea that, you know, we have poor bone health, when I think was it Neil Bernard said that there was a link between countries that had the most dairy actually had the highest rates of risk factors. So again, it proved that it doesn't actually protect you from fractures and things like that. So actually, the more you have, the more likely you're going to have it. So I don't know how vegans have more poor bone health, when again, if you have like fortified foods, they've got calcium in there, like stuff like spinach and so forth. I think I don't know, I think I made a video on it where I pointed out that I watched a video by Dr. McDougall where he literally said that there's never been a case in medical literature where someone has come to them with a calcium deficiency and they've got that from not consuming enough calcium from their diet. Meaning, obviously, just because you don't consume enough calcium doesn't mean that's how you get a calcium deficiency. Like, there's other things that are going on, and your gut is so, like, it's fantastic, the fact that if it needs more calcium, it will leach more from the foods. If it has too much, it will stop absorbing, because calcium can actually kill you if you have too much. And the idea that we don't get enough calcium is just ridiculous, because there's so many foods that have it, because again, it's a minerals grown in the ground. Foods that are grown that are going to have calcium, maybe not as much as you get in dairy or so forth, but there's enough calcium. If you eat enough food and you eat a varied diet, calcium is not going to be an issue. Low omega-3s, that could be an issue potentially, because because obviously you've got the conversion rate between ALA into DHA and EPA, and some people say that the conversion rate is so low, it varies between each person. And obviously you might have to consume a lot of those foods to get enough, like flax seeds and so forth. But then the other issue is just the thing you could do is just take an EPA DHA supplement. I mean, I've got one, like an algae oil one, that gives you 250 milligrams, I think, every single day. So that's not an issue on a vegan diet if you just supplement. Again, a properly planned one. Vitamin B12 is not just an issue amongst vegans. That is a worldwide issue. I'm surprised vitamin D wasn't mentioned there, because apparently vegans are deficient in vitamin D. But again, that's a worldwide issue due to lifestyle, people not being out in the sunlight enough, working hours where they are on the planet. It is one of those old age things where they keep coming back to the idea that a vegan diet, I mean, to say that it's potentially fatal, I don't know how many people that have gone vegan have actually died from going vegan.
Exactly. That's even the B12 thing that you're talking about there. Like, we only need about between 4 and 7 micrograms of B12 per day, and our body can actually only metabolize around 1.5 micrograms per day. So if you're even taking a 2,500 microgram tablet a week, that's enough to cover your bases totally. Yeah. And your body can actually store it for around about 3 years anyway. So your stores are quite high, and you keep topping them up anyway. So it's crazy.
I know, I keep hearing that argument of eventually you'll run out of B12 stores and you'll become an ex-vegan. I hear that a lot. But then again, like, just take a B12 supplement. I mean, it's probably the cheapest, most affordable vitamin, easiest one to take. I mean, you can go to Tesco and get them for like £1 for like 200. They're so easy to take. I know some people say that there's different versions of B12 and one is more absorbable than the other. I think, I don't know if he's called Vegans, the German guy who has a channel. I think he had a live stream with Dr. Greger, and he said in his country, they don't have the one that is more easily absorbable. They have the other ones, so sometimes there's issues. But most countries, like in the UK or in the US, I can't remember, Saito one, I think, the longer name one, apparently that's more absorbable, and it's easier to take. But people make the argument that, you know, if you have to take a B12 supplement, you shouldn't be vegan. But like you said, because of the soil and everything like that, we can't get it when we would have naturally have got it. And they're eating foods where the animals are supplemented with it already.
Exactly.
So again, it's an argument they use against vegans, which I don't think is right at all. But yeah, they didn't mention vitamin D. But again, the sad thing about this is BBC News, so it's a huge platform. It's just Northern Ireland. I don't know if Northern Ireland are as far ahead when it comes to the vegan movement as much as here in England.
Northern Ireland, for what I know, I've got quite a few friends in Northern Ireland, and they even say that the supermarkets over there have absolutely got literally no vegan options. So they seem to be well behind us. So
yeah, so I mean, 'cause obviously this is a Northern Ireland post, but the problem is obviously we can read it, and again, that's still going to be putting out a lot of information that people might look at this and think, oh, look, there's another reason why you shouldn't go vegan. It's not healthy. You could potentially die from going vegan, which is just ridiculous. I don't know what University of Belfast has warned. I mean, that's ridiculous. I don't think I've ever heard of anyone go, but I've heard of many people that are eating animal products that have died every single year. But we're the crazy ones, apparently.
Absolutely. So the next one we're actually moving on to is exactly the same. It's from BBC News. It's talking about how expensive is a vegan diet. So Yeah, it's as expensive in my opinion as you want to make it. Like if you shop around at Marks and Spencer's, it's going to be expensive. If you shop around at Aldi, it's obviously going to be a lot cheaper. So it's like any lifestyle. It's going to be as expensive as cheap as you want to make it. Obviously, your staples, your beans, your rice, your seeds, your legumes, your pasta, your oats, vegetables. You can even, like your fruits, if they're expensive, buy frozen ones. You know what I mean? You can do it cost effective.
Wait until they hear about this $100 vegan nugget or whatever, or that idea of a vegan nugget.
So yeah, it's saying as more and more people look up a vegan lifestyle last month for the challenge dubbed Veganuary, we ask, can you save money by going vegan? Right now, interested in veganism is obviously on the up, with the number of people in the UK following a plant-based diet risen 340% in the last decade, according to research from Mintel. In budget-conscious January, along with health, environmental and animal welfare concerns, a further reason some to try to cut animal products from their diet is to save money. However, what does that mean end up being the case? And it's saying Conor Carey, living in Barcelona, told the BBC that for the last 10 days of January this year, he tried to go vegan, but actually found he was spending more money. To be vegan, it helps to be rich. He says, if you open any vegan cookbook, you come across all these expensive ingredients. Pine nuts are crazy. They're the most expensive. There's nothing cheap about them. According to new research from the BBC, Mr. Carey may have found his costs went up because he was vegetarian before he tried veganism. So it's showing you here the spending and eating out and in groceries from obviously January all the way through to December. It says the financial advice company Clio found that after 3 months in the diet, meat eaters who go vegan and end up spending 21 less per month on eating out and groceries. However, vegetarians who opted to go vegan ended up spending £11 more per month, which a bit strange. I don't quite know how they work that, you know. But yeah, it says I really think it's like anything. It's not very descriptive, because if you shop around, it's going to be as cheap or as expensive as you really want it to be.
God knows where they got these figures from and where they even come up, because it doesn't take a lot just to go looking around, even some of the fake meats and stuff. Like if you were to compare like Tesco soya mince to typical mince, you can clearly see it's cheaper. So I don't know how they get the idea that they spent more money, unless they were going out and eating like the Beyond Burger every single day and they were buying multiple ones of those. But if you went to Tesco and bought 4 or 5 different pork chops or so forth, that's going to cost you a lot of money before you even begin. And then you're probably going to be pairing it with vegan foods like potatoes or vegetables or so forth. So I don't know how you're adding something extra to a meal and suddenly that makes it cheaper than going vegan. But like you said, like, if you eat, say, plant-based, they're some of the cheapest foods out there, like tins of beans, like potatoes, vegetables. Some fruits are more expensive. I think like bananas, apples, and oranges are fairly cheap. Bananas are one of the cheapest, but some of the berries can be expensive. But like you said, you can get frozen, mixed smoothies, and things like that. And I don't know very many vegans that just eat pine nuts. I don't eat pine nuts. I don't like pine nuts. I don't know why that's something that has to come out, that it's an idea to back up their idea that a vegan diet is more expensive because pine nuts are expensive. It's not something you would eat a lot of anyway. Like you put it on top of what, a cake or something maybe? I don't know. But that's not one thing. You can say, well, pine nuts are expensive, but so is eating a huge steak. Or a grass-fed steak is going to cost you what? 4, 5, 6 quid per steak. You can have a family of 4. How are you going to afford to do that? It's going to cost you 10, 20 quid to feed a family of 4 on steaks, when you could have, potatoes and vegetables or so forth. You could just make a vegan pasta and it probably cost you a couple quid per person, if that. So a vegan diet is easily, especially a whole foods plant-based diet, is the cheapest diet you could possibly have. So I don't understand how these people manage to actually spend more money.
It's like Twisted Hippie says there that, LOL, I live in less than £5 a day, food and drink. Exactly. It's like, you know what I mean? It's all easy. I mean, at the end of the day, when you look at it, quite a lot of the things are in price comparison, really, they're the same, because you think of it, you go into the supermarket, you buy like 2 burgers, they're roughly about £3. You can go to Iceland and you get 2 no bull burgers for £2. So why wouldn't you really take the option to involve a victim? Even going to eggs, just like we talked about a few weeks ago, you've got like 12 grams of protein in the vegan sausage roll. You've got 9 grams in the original one. They're both relatively the same price. There's less salt in the other one. It's like, so why would you?
Yeah, I finally tried those Noble burgers. They're pretty good.
Oh, they're amazing.
Like I said, like the Iceland version's pretty good. I mean, like, virtually all of the products that are in there, I think, were like £2 each.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I mean, like I said, you would spend more than that on meat products. So again, it's one of those ones. I know people will use that saying, well, as soon as you go vegan, it's going to suddenly cost you more money. It doesn't. It is a lot cheaper. And again, if you focus on a whole food plant-based diet, you will save money. I guarantee you'll save money. But yeah.
Yeah, so number 12 we're actually going to talk about is the little Welsh boy that had actually been bullied. He'd actually been bullied quite a lot because he was vegan. He was actually attempted to obviously force feed him bacon. And Kyle O'Sullivan, who's the vegan rapper, who you may know, go check him out on YouTube. He's done quite a lot. It was absolutely amazing vegan rap. He actually put this out on his Instagram as well, trying to get people to obviously go and support it. So it would be actually great if you could do that. So what is actually happening here, as you can see, vegan schoolboy 14 punched by bully who then tried to force feed him bacon. So absolutely disgusting. It really, really is. Like, what actually happened? It says a vegan schoolboy was punched by a fellow pupil who then, oh sorry, it's a way back to the other one. Let's go on here. It says a vegan schoolboy was punched by a fellow pupil who then tried to force feed him bacon. His mum has claimed. Dante, 14, started at Milford Haven school in Wales at the end of October after moving from Neath. Since then, his mum, Rachel, 44, claims he's gone through weeks of meat thrown at him, then assaulted twice already by 2 different boys. In the first incident in November last year, he was allegedly punched in the throat in an unprovoked attack. In the second incident in January 15, he was allegedly headbutted repeatedly by another student who then tried to force feed him meat in his mouth as others watched. Rachel now says the youngster has symptoms consistent with post-concussion syndrome, according to a medical report. I mean, yeah, it's absolutely disgusting. So it goes on and on here about obviously what happened. I know I was bullied as a child, but I think even at that point, back then, you didn't have anything like that. So it's absolutely disgusting. And it shows you the kind of things that obviously goes on in the world now, that we're actually relating to things like that, obviously because of somebody's beliefs that obviously animals shouldn't be harmed and try to live a compassionate life.
It also just shows that the society we live in, that people feel that vegans are bad people, and the kids are doing this. So whether it's something to do with like the parents, like, oh, these fucking vegans again are doing this and that, there's something wrong with them, like whether they've learned that from their parents or whatever, but whatever it is, it's strange that vegans seem to have a bad name. People think they're bad people because they want to live an ethical life. They feel animals have value. They don't want to harm the planet. They want to live a healthy lifestyle. Like, how is it a bad thing? And to the point that you got kids that are going out and kicking another kid in and force feeding them bacon as if it's sort of like he's standing up to the vegan trend. It's just, it's ridiculous. But this probably happens with adults as well.
Absolutely. It probably happens quite a lot in the workplace and things like that. I mean, guaranteed it will, but it's probably this has just been brought to the highlight, as the saying goes.
Yeah. Well, it's again, like, there's so much vegan hate. Like I said, I was going through all of my comments and I got called a fucking retard. I'm a fucking liar. I'm this and that. I don't know if he was calling me or Vegan Gains. It was on the video that I upload, but apparently I'm a child abuser or something like that. But you get called so many names just for being a vegan. Why there's so much hatred, I don't know. But again, that's a society issue, I think. But I think I was in one group, and I think Canada are trying to pass a rule that vegans will have more rights, or maybe you could be. It's seen as prejudice to sort of attack vegans for being a vegan, whether it'll go down that route or no. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or not, but yeah, we get it a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. So the last one we're going to talk about is the recent, obviously, vegan trend, why you're no longer vegan. This is from Lil Cheetah, or as it used to be called, Vegan Cheetah. You probably all know about him. I've had a storied past with him. But he's been doing an awful lot of it, like I would say in the last few months, descriptive content, as in kind of bashing the vegan movement. He'd been saying quite a lot about it, obviously saying why he doesn't believe in obviously people standing outside slaughterhouses stopping trucks. Been bashing the movement quite a lot, saying that it would obviously, that it was a major conglomerate kind of plan to turn people vegan, and obviously why it all been related to politics. So we're going to show you a little bit about his video. So
yeah, he's been doing a lot of that recently. It's either he comments on vegan drama, or he's doing like 3 or 4 videos a day talking about anything. I think he's just jumping on the bandwagon, isn't he, just to get views, I think.
So this is his video.
This is one of the harshest places on the planet. By switching your search engine to Ecosia, you can transform landscapes like this.
All right, everybody, so here it is. Why I'm not vegan anymore. I figure we got to get this video out of the way. A lot of people still think I'm vegan. A lot of people are asking, what's the deal with your diet? So let's just clear things up. I want to say that here on YouTube, just how I found veganism, which also opened the door for politics in general, for me personally. Veganism was kind of my gateway drug to politics, and philosophy and everything else, you know. But the same way I found veganism is the same way that I've sort of been introduced to some other ideas. And that's through YouTube and through a lot of the people in the carnivore community, Frank Tufano and others, have really opened up my eyes and you know, allowed me the space to sort of think critically about my own diet and my own lifestyle and choosing that and where I want to go with it. So no, I'm not 100% vegan anymore. I would say that I'm attempting to make ethical choices. I'm attempting to make choices in the moment that are right for me. But I had this very, very weird circumstance, all right? This very weird craving. And I don't know how to explain it, but I was really craving like heavy cream. You know what I mean? Like I started thinking about it obsessively, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. Heavy cream, not milk, not ice cream, but like heavy fucking cream. Mind you, I've been vegan for like 3 years, so I'm probably depleted in a lot of different, you know, micronutrients and macronutrients such as fat. You know, I have trouble kind of keeping fat on my face and stuff because I've been depleting myself for 3 years. So I've been craving like heavy cream. Just thinking about it obsessively. So finally I broke down and I bought creamer, like half and half creamer. Or no, whipping cream. I bought whipping cream. And I drank that shit. And it was so good, man. It felt like when I took the first sip, I was like testing it out just to make sure I wasn't crazy. You know, I tasted it, and like as soon as I got just one taste, I just started chugging it like it was water. You know what I mean? That's how much my body was craving the fat and the calcium and everything else, the protein, the casein. It was like, it felt like a vital nutrient that I had been missing for years, which I had because I've been forcing myself on a vegan diet. A lot of people don't consider this, but Europeans especially, and white people, we have a very, very long-lasting cow culture and a milk culture, okay? You could be talking about England, ancient Britain, or, you know, Turkey. All across Europe, we have sort of for a millennia, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years, maybe even more, we've had a cow culture and a milk culture. And I've sort of been denying that for a long, long time. And when I drank this cream, it literally. So like,
I'm just going to fast forward to the end here, just to, like you get the gist of it.
The vegan.
Oh.
You're still using Google? I have something to show you. Ecosia is a search engine, just like.
So you get the gist of it. Basically, what he's saying there is he needed to jump onto cream. I've only got one thing to say to you, vegan cheetah, as Joey says, you're not a baby cow, bro.
I mean, I watched the video and I was just like, he's depleted himself over 3 years. He's always still in the face. And I was just like, well, what are you depleted in? It's how many times do you hear these ex-vegans say that they're depleted? They've got so many deficiencies, yet they don't ever provide a blood test. Like, if I was to prove that I'm deficient on a certain diet, I would prove it and show people, yes, I've got a blood result. This is what I'm deficient in. And it's, of all the things that you can crave is heavy cream. Like, to me, that just screams that he's just probably eating a very, very low fat, low calorie diet, and he's just depleted. And as soon as he has that, his body's like, shit, calories, fat. There's nothing miracle about cream. And I think did you watch the Dr. Clapper with the plant-based news? Did you watch it?
Mm-hmm.
And he came up with a very good point. Obviously, they made a small little bit, and that's why I actually watched it, was the ex-vegan thing, just to hear what his point was. And he did actually say that there is, he thinks to a degree, if you were raised eating animal products for your whole entire life, like, you know, as a child, as you grow up, there are certain nutrients, I think it was like carnitine, and there was one more he mentioned, that your body does create itself, but if it's constantly get it from an external source, it might lower its production of it. And obviously over a period of time, once you then go vegan, your body needs a time where it can actually get back up to those normal levels. And obviously they might then feel like crap when they haven't got those levels up to the right area. So they carry on. And then once they feel like they're craving animal products, really what they're craving is this carnitine and this other thing. And once they actually finally give into these products, they then get those products in there and they suddenly feel, oh God, I feel incredible, because again, they're getting this carnitine in because their body hasn't been producing it. There was one more nutrient, I can't think what it is, it will come to me probably after this, but that was his theory on it. And I think it's a valid point.
Maybe an L-cysteine.
Yes, yeah, it was something along the lines, like it was those two things that your body does produce enough of, but if you're getting it 3 times a day since you were a child, your body's just going to not produce as much of it, and then suddenly you just cut it out completely. There could be a deficiency possibly, and you might be then craving those products. But I think he said that he was craving for a long time, and he kind of had an unbiased way of it. He just said, like, if you are craving it, maybe try a little bit of animal products just to sort of see how it goes, but don't dabble there too long. Whether that's good advice or not, who knows? I mean, but if it gets someone to stay vegan for the foreseeable future, possibly. But then could you supplement in it? I don't know. But not everyone is like that. And I think with him, I don't know how he hasn't. Do you know how long he hasn't been vegan for?
He never really said. I think he was only, well, he's claiming that it was only really recently. But when you see quite a lot of these things, recently in the past as well, you've got to remember he was the one that, along with the Blue Rent on YouTube back in 2017, I knew about that because I used to stream with them, but they started the vegan umbrella, which was basically the concept that everybody comes under this vegan umbrella. So you bring in people that are maybe vegan on a Monday, they're basically flexitarian, and he was advocating that you could eat things like, obviously, like tuna, things like obviously mussels, oysters, basically because the oyster argument is that oysters are not sentient. They're a bit like plants. They can obviously react, but they don't obviously feel and think. So that's the argument they use for that. But he was eating tuna and things like that. So I really do think he's probably not been absolutely vegan for a long, long time, really.
So he's basically come out on this just to jump on the bandwagon. Like I said, I don't know if his channel is dead or dying, but I mean, he's got 40,000 subscribers and the average is like a couple hundred views usually, but he's uploading multiple ones every day. Someone says he's homeless or something, but it seems like he's just jumping on like the bandwagon to try and get views, to try and raise money, maybe possibly, and that's why he's doing this video. But he's not the only one. There's been so many of them have done it. I think is it Bonnie Rebecca? She had a huge channel. She came out and said it. Mike the Vegan did a video on it and said that like a lot of the health concerns was more with her partner than her. And did she really need to not be vegan anymore? But then someone I know that knows her said that she's a really nice person and this would be the last thing she would consider doing, because this is something she would hate to do. She cares about the animals, and I don't know how many people in that situation would ever go back if their health, in their opinion, was...
If you're absolutely vegan for the animals, in my opinion, you'll never go back. But I know somebody that knows her very well as well, and that they said that it's the last thing she would want, because she's done a lot of talks on veganism. She was all about the animals. But the only thing my critique of it is she didn't obviously say till the end of her first video, obviously, that veganism wasn't really the cause. She wasn't blaming veganism, but she'd let people, obviously, most of the people going to watch that video wouldn't have even clicked all the way to the end, and she'd said that at the end. Then she goes on to the next video that she uploads, obviously showing our animal products, cooking eggs and things like that, to go for basically like 360. If you're all about the animals, surely you wouldn't go and make a video advocating. Well, she says she's not advocating, but at the end of the day, she's got like 200,000 followers.
I think it's more than that. I think like I thought it was 300, but she's got a huge following.
Yeah, massive following. But why would you go and do that? You know what I mean? To cook up eggs and things like that, because obviously people are obviously going to, in some way, think that that's good for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, again, it's one of those ones because it's a trend. There's gonna be other people that have gone vegan that might be feeling or think they're feeling some of the things that she was, and they go, "That's the reason why I've been feeling that. That's the reason." Okay, if she's done it and she must know all about it, so she wouldn't do it unless she had to. And then she does it, or maybe even some of her followers have only gone vegan because she's vegan, and because she's not anymore, may suddenly not go. I think the issue is putting a video on it because
Jenna Lee's saying there, Tofu Goddess done a great video about it. Bonnie Rebecca, she bought non-vegan, non-food products for her health. I'll need to check that out.
Yeah, I was just reading someone else. But they stick to eggs. Why meat? The thing I always find weird about these ex-vegans is they seem to just go, instead of going back to what they were originally eating, they seem to just go right round the other way and go full carnivore, which is really, really strange. And on my video that I made on ex-vegans and is this the new trend, I had someone comment on there who has a channel as an ex-vegan, like that is their channel, and it's about being a carnivore. And he even mentioned in the comment that he doesn't go full carnivore anymore, and it might have something to do with Dr. Clapper saying that anyone that goes, you know, full carnivore, they might feel health benefits at first because they're removing oils. I think it was flour products, and there was one more, dairy. They'll feel great for that, but over a long period of time, their kidneys are going to screw up. They're going to have colorectal issues. It's going to be a huge thing. So maybe he scaled back from that, but his whole channel, his whole platform is being an ex-vegan. And that is what he's selling because he gets views.
And you've got to also remember as well, the World Health Organization actually tells us that you only need like 5% of your calories are actual protein. So it's shocking, you know what I mean?
Oh God, yeah. Well, like I said, it's that Canadian Health Guide, it was only 25% of that one is protein. Everyone seems to think that we need so much protein. If we don't get enough protein, we're suddenly just going to fall apart. But like I said, I think a lot of it is like with her, for instance, she didn't need to make a video to put it out there because, again, with such a huge platform, no one would really know if she was vegan or not. Because let's be honest, a lot of YouTubers are out there. Do we really know what they do every single day? We only ever see what they want us to see. And especially with a lot of them, they get into fancy editing. You don't even know what they want to say. Like, how many of these people that we actually follow are genuine? So she could have, in the background, been eating animal products for a lot longer. She didn't need to put it out there. She didn't. I don't know if she sought a lot of medical help. I don't know. I think she went to some people that said that she should eat animal products and a neuropath or something.
To go quite a bit of help. She seemed to be going to quite a lot of different kind of nutritionists really and things she went to, and then obviously they checked her gut flora and things like that. But I don't know if she actually got the kind of real medical help that she really, really needed. Really,
this is the problem as well in a medical thing is that they don't promote plant-based nutrition. It's a lot of them. I think she said that some of them were saying that she needs to try eating some eggs and some fish and she'll feel better. Like, this is part of the issue. And I know Dr. Clapper said that he is he's ashamed of the industry that he works in because they don't know any of this information. So he goes around from different college to different college spreading awareness on plant-based nutrition and the fact that they go into that industry to cure people and make them feel better, not say, okay, what we need to do is we need to give you this medicine so you can just deal with being ill, deal with being sick, but tell them the power of nutrition and actually see people get better. But this isn't out there. So again, if you're, I don't know where she's from, but obviously here in the UK as well, like doctors get very little nutritional advice, and a lot of nutritionists, because I've had arguments with people on Facebook who are a nutritionist saying, no, you've got to eat animal products. You need to have milk for calcium. You need the protein. You know, if you don't have that, you're going to die. There's B12 in this. That's why the vegans die. And I'm thinking, I've been vegan for over 2 years. I haven't died yet. There's plenty of other vegans that haven't eaten any animal products for however many years, and they're still alive. So what the hell are you talking about?
It's like you're saying about the doctors not obviously getting nutrition kind of background. They only get like 4 hours of nutrition each year, which is absolutely shocking. It really, really is.
But I guess the other thing as well is that they need to put more funding into it. But what's weird is that these studies are out there, the evidence is out there. There are doctors promoting it. So I don't understand why this hasn't had a more hasn't been done already, considering, you know, they're trying to save lives, NHS and all that, are trying to save money. This would be the ideal way to do it, considering all the evidence. But you don't know how much money has been put in by the egg, milk and dairy industry into the government to put out these things, which is why the Canadian Food Guide is so powerful, because I think they actually let the scientists do the work. Yeah. And this is what they came out with. So if we don't have industry funded, industry biased studies being put out there, this is what really comes out. It's maybe that's something we need to work more towards.
That's why it's a big thing when you see, obviously, the hospitals obviously having in like vegan menus. There's quite a lot of them don't yet, but it's good to see that it's actually beginning to kind of filter into that area. So hopefully that will be more adopted, because you think of it, you get into the hospital, you can get a halal menu, you can get a kosher menu, but you can't get a vegan one. You know what I mean?
Well, because I did that video on like heart disease and different things like that, and a close family member who had heart disease, he got given a pamphlet, and in that pamphlet of his sort of recovery and what they should go through, what they should eat to hope that it doesn't happen again, and sort of rehab, I guess, to a degree, they're promoting animal products in there. Like the cardiologists are literally saying, you know, have lean cuts of meat, have eggs, have this and that, you need it for protein and so forth. They're promoting that in a cardiology sort of pamphlet of, you've had heart disease, you've had a heart attack, we've given you your bypass, eat this. Like, how are they putting out this information? And while that person was there, they were offering them cakes, as like snacks, cheese sandwiches. Like, I don't think they realized that this industry, that nutrition is such a powerful tool for them, that they didn't realize that the food that they're actually offering, suggesting, people are going to follow because it's their doctor, obviously. That is part of the problem. They're more in the industry of fixing with stents, fixing with bypass surgery. Maybe there's more money to be made in that way, I don't know, but they're more in the idea of helping people live unhealthily or live with illnesses as opposed to curing them.
It's a bit like getting somebody in for detox for heroin and then giving them a needle and some heroin and saying, there you go back at it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's absolutely ridiculous. I don't understand like the fact that we can go and find this information. I mean, I can't always read it and fully understand it because I'm not a researcher, I'm not a scientist. But if I can find it and the information is out there, why do they not have it? That to me is just, I just don't understand that at all. But I know Neil Bernard, he had that picture, didn't he, where he went to a McDonald's. Yeah, that's right. And obviously, because they were offering free bacon, I think it was, for a day or whatever. And obviously, he was saying, like, you do know it's a type 1 carcinogen. Like, you know, are you going to give people free screening for colorectal cancer? Because again, the World Health Organization, everyone knows who they are, has said that processed meats and deli meats and things like that are a type 1 carcinogen, linked to like the same as like tobacco, asbestos, and all that lot. But people are not listening. Why is the information not being put out there? I think it's something, a small portion is like 18% increase of colorectal cancer, but people are still eating it.
That's it. Yeah.
It's crazy.
So yeah, we're just going to open up to any questions that anybody has to finish it off. Is that what?
Yeah, it sounds good. Yeah, we can work into a bit of Q&A. Like if anyone has anything that they want to talk about what we brought up, or they want to ask any questions for me and Tommy, then shoot, go ahead.
Anything at all, just put it in the chat. We'll go for the next, say, 10, 15 minutes or whatever.
Yeah, that sounds good, yeah. Actually, what we could do is just scroll up through.
Rusty Tippy says, I love how Carnivore Crew think the science is a conspiracy by secret government. Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about. That's what Vegan Cheetah was actually saying. He said that the growth in veganism was actually a secret government plan to basically dominate the world. And he actually said that somehow or other, Abbas Lassil, you know what I mean, Aizo Mazad, he was actually part of it as well. It's like, I don't know what his mindset is there. Ellie's saying, what do you think needs to happen next in the vegan YouTube community? That's a big one. You want to start with that, Lee, and I'll give my view?
No, you can go with that one. That's a hard one.
I would say in the vegan YouTube community, I just think that we need to obviously start supporting each other, because at the end of the day, there's there's a kind of cut off at the end of the day. Getting to that stage where there's people obviously above you, like I say, people's messages don't always get seen. I think we need to start collaborating with each other, helping each other grow to get the message out for the animals. That's really, really important in my view. I think that's the biggest step we can make in the vegan
Yeah, I think more collaborations. I think that's why we thought it'd be a good idea if we got guests on and anyone who wanted to share their story, or if they have something they just wanted to talk about, or why and how they went vegan, anything like that, because I think we both said that, you know, some people respond differently to different YouTubers. So I think the more vegan YouTubers that are out there, or even just as they call them, social influencers, the more of them that are out there, the better, because there's going to be some people that are just going to resonate with one person better than the other. The more that we have out there, the more people you're going to reach. But it's one of those ones where it's, the problem is we've got either really, really big YouTubers, vegan ones, or very, very, very small. There's no in between, and it seems that once you get higher and higher up, they're obviously busy, they've got a lot more going on, sometimes they've got other people working for them, but there doesn't seem to be that bit where they want to kind of bring up the smaller ones. So there's loads of us around maybe below 10,000 subs, and you'll get some that are up to like a couple 100,000 to 1 million, but we're all trying to do the same thing. And I think if we all work together, we might reach more people, because we've all got subscribers that I might have. I mean, obviously you've probably got everyone on yours, Tommy, but I mean, I might have some that you don't have, and you've got some that I definitely don't have. But like I said, if you mix with different people and there's different YouTubers and they can all come together, there's going to be, like I said, if you've got a subscriber, they're not going to watch every single video you put up because they're either too busy, or there's certain things that they are interested in that they're not. But if someone else has got a different video on a different topic, or just a different way of projecting it, that might reach more people. And so I definitely agree with you. I think we need to get more people collabing.
Yeah, I think getting the kind of group of people that's kind of multi-diversional in some way. Some people that are obviously into it for the environmental reasons. Some people are into it for the health and fitness reasons. Some people are into ethics. So you can encapsulate the kind of whole type of thing, and people obviously see all the different so you're collaborating with different people, really, and it helps you grow as well. That's my view on it.
I think that's a good way. I think the Twisted Hippie said she should get a mic and join in. Yeah, come on in. Like I said, like the more people that, like, I think that's what one thing we wanted to do was, instead of just like making sure we can put out news, and that's great. Some people may have heard it, but it's a good way of just getting more people involved, because everyone has a different opinion. Like you said about the whole lab-grown meat, there's going to be different vegans that are going to have different opinions on it. I don't think you can truly learn or truly understand the subject until you start seeing it from different points of views. Because I mean, there'll be some things that we might agree on, but there's other things that we might not. But then there might be someone else that has a different way of putting that information out there that we can then go, okay, that makes sense. So yeah, I definitely think that we need to collab more, like with different YouTubers. And for any of you that have got a channel now, or any of you that see this, please just give me and Tommy a message one day, and you can join in. When we did have that one guy last week, but he had problems with his mic and he couldn't quite get in.
A great channel that's just popped in is Rebecca's World. I don't know if you know her, Lee. She's absolutely go check her out. It'd be great to get Rebecca on someday. She does a lot of great work. She should get more support, definitely. We'd love to have you on, Rebecca, at some point.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it'd be good to get the Phlegm Face on it as well, because obviously last time we went onto her channel, it'd be good to get her on, because
that's what we want.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Well, I think as well, when we're talking about what's next for the vegan community, I think probably stepping away from as much like the kind of vigil and slaughterhouse footage. I think at the end of the day, it's probably getting to the point that people are becoming desensitized from it, and it gets to the point, are you really reaching the demographic of people you want to? Is it just vegans that's seeing that? And at the end of the day, I just think we need to find another kind of niche that's going to step away from that, because at the end of the day, people's level for violence ends up going up higher and higher and higher each time, and it's just not working anymore, in my point. Yeah. A few years ago that did have its place, and now it's not really having the same effect.
Yeah, I think because there's so much of it out there. You've got these new documentaries that are coming out and showing it. It's good that it's out there. It needs to be shown. Like, people need to see what these animals go through. But I think other vegans just switch off. Like that video I did with why I went vegan, like my retention rate was high, and as soon as I started showing the slaughterhouse stuff,
that's it.
dropped.
Yeah.
And then obviously then afterwards, once I went into the happy bit, and I do want to do like a happy video montage of all these different animals like down the line, but as soon as I did that, it's like people were skipping ahead. Like people don't want to see it. It's hard to watch, and maybe partly because it is difficult to watch. But like I said, people might be desensitized of more slaughterhouse footage, and they just skip past it. People don't want to see it. But is that the best way to advocate for veganism? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it gets to that point where it's supposed that like all different messages have got their place, but I feel in that one that it's maybe slipping away, and it's maybe kind of turning people off at the end of the day. I don't know. It's like, is it not? I don't know. Yeah,
I mean, because obviously you've got, I mean, Earthly Ned seems to do it quite well, but it's a difficult one to do because you kind of need to show what happens.
Of course, exactly. That's it.
But it's a way of doing it that people go, oh, damn, that's really hard to watch. But it's enough that they keep watching, not like full-on brutal, like throats being slit. It's very, very difficult to watch. But the conditions possibly is a good way to go down. But then some people don't want to watch slaughterhouse or videos. It's like, how would you go down the route where you can try to promote it? And I think food is a very good way to promote veganism because, let's be honest, majority of the people that go towards a plant-based or a vegan diet usually do it because they're doing it for health, or they're doing it for like that. A small minority are doing it because they truly care about the animal. So if you could put out more content when it comes to the food, like how good the food is, how to eat it, where to get it from, recipes, I think that is a popular way forward for the vegan movement.
Yeah, both kind of focus on that intrinsic reason, and that kind of altruistic reason is really, really important in my view. But what I would say is another really good thing that we should really be doing quite a lot more is bringing on non-vegans onto the channels and things as well, having discussions with them, but compassionate discussions, hearing their views and obviously their concerns, and trying to obviously help them as well. But similar to what you do in obviously vegan outreach out in the streets, like street interviews, but bringing them onto channels, I think that's a really, really important thing.
Yeah, I think obviously if you're bringing on someone who's open, that's going to make it a more of a useful debate. Yeah. But like the last question put up there about the debates, are they a good way to promote veganism? Like Ask Yourself and Vegan Gains. Majority of those debates I've seen on both of those channels, I think a majority of them are pretty pointless to a degree, just because I've never seen any one of them where they've actually really conceded or actually went, okay, I understand what you're saying. And I mean, they're good for us because we can learn arguments for veganism, because some of them, like especially Ask Yourself, very, very, very intelligent man, and he has a good way of thinking. He seems to focus a lot on the name the trait thing, and some of Vegan Gains' debates have been quite useful, and obviously you can use that when it comes to trying to talk to other people. They're useful in that aspect. But I find once you actually watch the debate, they all end up kind of being the same, and neither one of them really concedes or gets to a point where they can actually really agree on anything, and they end up just like arguing over each other.
It turns into a debate, into an argument, and then basically a shouting match, really. Which
because obviously the thing is, like, if you can find someone who's open to it or wants to listen, because obviously as a vegan, you're not likely to say even think about not being a vegan. So it's about finding someone that is willing to just go, okay, I don't know anything about veganism. What is it like? What does it mean? How does it work? Like, and you could talk to someone like that. I think that would be useful if you had someone that doesn't really know anything, because there's going to be lots of people out there that aren't a full-blown I hate vegans, they're all assholes, but more like, okay, what is veganism? What do you guys do? What are you trying to achieve? What actually happens to these animals? What are the health implications? What impact does it have on the environment? Like someone that genuinely wants to know. I think they will be useful, and just have it as a discussion as opposed to a debate. Because a lot of those, I don't really find that they really work.
Twisty Tippy's saying, so maybe if we had a conversation where we explain and convince. Yeah, I would say explain, but convince is probably something that's I don't know, because at the end of the day, it's about trying to just like plant that seed, to have them actually come to this conscious decision themselves, because you don't want to feel as if you're pushing it on them. You want to try and listen to them. You basically ask them the questions, that kind of Socratic method type thing, I would say, letting them come to the conclusion that it's probably the best way to do it.
It's hard to like put the information out there as well, because me and you could talk about all day long about the health implications of animal products. We could say, you know, the carcinogenic effect, that different things that are in processed meat that could be bad, but because neither of us are doctors, we don't have any credibility. Like, people are going to go, well, my doctor says I should be eating meat, and it kind of debunks that argument completely. I think, like, the only way in which, unless you're a doctor, I think the only way you can have a good debate or discussion is if you talk at it from an ethical standpoint, maybe even an environmental, but share some of the health implications. But I think a lot of people aren't really going to listen to you unless you're a doctor, and that's the hard thing, is because that's probably the biggest reason why someone would go vegan, is for their health. So maybe we need more vegan doctor YouTubers. That would be fantastic. I know Garth Davis, someone made a comment saying that Garth Davis did a good point when he said about these ex-vegans. I watched it earlier on. It is a good video, and someone like that adds credibility to what we're trying to say. So maybe, like I said, plant-based news are good for that, because they get on doctors, and that's what we need. We need more and more doctors going into the details. I mean, nutritionfacts.org is fantastic for that, because they go into the science. We need more of that, I think. Maybe we can get a doctor on one day, Tommy.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, just like you're talking about doctors and things, that's what changes actual people's perceptions, because as a society and things like that, we look up to people of power and influence, doctors, politicians, things like that. So that's where the influence comes from, people that actually, that somehow they look up to and think that they're obviously, that what they're saying is actual truth, you know what I mean? So yeah, we're all spreading the truth, but at the end of the day, but it's got more weight behind it, as the saying goes, when it comes to somebody like that.
Yeah, and I think, like, again, I think that's one good thing for the vegan movement, is, again, if we just get more and more people making channels, more and more people just spreading the message. Because, like I said, if, like, you get a few people in their neighborhood or whatever like that, in their school, in their friends group that's creating videos, some of their friends might watch it just because they know who they are. And if they're sharing like links to studies, or they're sharing, say, like, that if you want to know about the effects of animal products on health, check out this channel, and link a video to nutritionfacts.org or Gov, and things like that, that's going to be really, really useful. So again, like, maybe just getting more and more people to go vegan and making channels about it, and just documenting what they're going through, like why they went vegan, how they're getting through it, and maybe showing more stories like that. I know What I Eat a Day is very, very popular on YouTube, vegan or not. A lot of people watch videos like that. So maybe doing more videos like that, like actually documenting a true vegan life, as opposed to little snippets of it, maybe.
Yeah, so that's great. Has anybody got anything else they want covered, or is that us? Looks like it, yeah. So yeah, we'll just wait.
Well, maybe we can look at doing another live stream when we get the Twisted Hippie on. I think that'd be a good idea. Rebecca's World, if she wants to do it as well, that'd be fantastic. If we could get a couple on, that'd be fantastic. So
thank everybody, guys, for joining in the chat. It's been absolutely amazing. It's been great.
Guys. But yeah, thank you for everyone that's joined in, for commenting and being a part of this live stream. I think it'll be a couple of weeks before we do the next one, Tommy.
2 weeks today, yeah.
2 weeks today, and that'll be on Tommy's channel. So make sure you tune in for that. For any of you that somehow are not subscribed to Tommy's channel, make sure you go and click subscribe so you get a notification of that. And I think we'll see you guys in the next one.
Thanks very much, guys. Binge on life, purge negativity and starve guilty feelings. Speak to you all soon and love you so much.